Yeah, very good. Awesome, awesome. So I want to begin with something. I think I want to begin with a movie. I want to begin with a movie. 5-minute movie, not more than that. And I want you all to reflect on which character from this movie do you identify with?
Yourself.
And yeah, and all of you have children? Yeah, okay. So I also want you to think of who your child, whom you can identify as your child here. So one is you and one is your child. See the movie and then just try to reflect back. Okay? So should we start the movie? And tell me whether the sound is okay. Okay, I have to be enabled.
Yeah, sorry.
Enabled. No
do that.
problem, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, done.
It's nice not to see a movie, but there's no popcorn. Huh? You can get your popcorn and sit maybe.
Anyway, it's a tea time, so I'm sure all of them must be with the mug.
We'll take a break after some time if you like. So should we start and just tell me whether you can see? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
The animal school?
Yes.
Wonderful.
The Animal School, presented by Tangram. Once upon a time, the animals had a school. They had to create a curriculum that would satisfy everyone, so they chose 4 subjects: running, climbing, flying, and swimming. All the animals, of course, studied all the subjects. The duck was very good at swimming, better than the teacher, in fact. He had received passing grades in running and flying, but was hopeless in climbing. So they made him drop swimming so that he could practice climbing. After a while, he was only average at swimming, but average is still acceptable, at least in school. And nobody worried much about it, except for the duck. The eagle was considered a troublemaker. In his climbing class, he beat everybody to the top. But he had his own way of getting there that was against the rules. He always had to stay after school and write. Cheating is wrong 500 times. This kept him from soaring, which he loved. But schoolwork comes first. The bear flunked because they said he was lazy, especially in the winter. His best time was summer, but school wasn't open then. The zebra played hooky a lot because the ponies made fun of stripes, and that made him very sad. The kangaroo started out at the top of the racing class, but became discouraged when they told him to move swiftly on all 4 legs the way his classmates did. The fish quit school because he was bored. To him, all 4 subjects were the same. But nobody understood that because they had never seen a fish. The squirrel got an A in climbing, but his flying teacher made him start from the ground up instead from the treetop down. His legs got so sore practicing takeoffs that he began getting C's in climbing and D's in running. The bee was the biggest problem of all, so the teacher sent him to Dr. Owl for testing. Dr. Owl said that bees' wings were too small for flying and they were in the wrong place. The bee never saw Dr. Owl's report, so he just went ahead and flew anyway. The duck is the child who does well in math and poorly in English. He's given tutorials by the English teacher while his classmates are doing math. He loses his edge in math and only does passably well in English. The eagle is the child who is turned into the troublemaker because he has his own style of doing things. When he's not doing anything wrong, his non-conforming is perceived as troublemaking, for which he's punished. Who does not recognize the bear? The kid who is great in camp, thrives in extracurricular, but really just goes flat in the academics. The zebra is the heavy, tall, short, or self-conscious kid whose failure in school, few realize, is due to a sense of social inadequacy. The kangaroo is the one who, instead of persevering, gives up and becomes that discouraged child. His future disappears because he was not appreciated. The fish is a child who really requires full special education and cannot shine in a regular class. The squirrel, unlike the duck who manages, becomes a failure. The bee, the bee, is the child who the school just feels it cannot deal with. Yet against all odds, with the backing of his parents, has enough self-motivation to do well even though everyone thought he couldn't. I had the pleasure of knowing many bees. Your child is a unique blend of talents, personality, and ingredients, nowhere else to be found. Some children are skilled intellectually, others are best emotionally, and many are born with creative ingenuity. Each child possesses his own very exclusive collection of gifts. Your child did not come with a direction booklet. Effective parents are always learning, studying, and customizing the instructions of their individual child. Each and every child is as unique as his fingerprints, a sparkling diamond of unparalleled beauty. Don't let your child be a kangaroo.
All right, can I ask all of you to open up your screens, your videos? It feels a little, yeah, distant otherwise. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, the floor is open for discussion now.
Okay.
The others, please, I want each one of you to open up, please. At least this space, we can't meet physically, but we can respect that we see each other and we talk to each other. Otherwise, we can all, I can record this and send it to Bala ma'am. Why are we doing this session at all? Do you
Absolutely.
understand how students do it and how teachers feel? Don't do this to yourselves. Nobody's judging you here. We're just here to interact. Interaction can only happen when I can see somebody.
Absolutely. So basically today's topic is career options for students and adults with disability. Most of them who are here at the moment are teachers who are dealing with children with basically either LD, ADHD, or maybe mild autism, or even others, a few. So everybody's, there's a big question in our minds that, okay, we somehow get them to educate till class 10th or 12th, or, somehow do NIOS or some other board. Will these kids be able to do anything in their life? Will they be able to have their own career? Do they have enough opportunities in a country like India? Does India support such facilities in different fields or by different corporates or other sectors? With your rich experience, we would like you to guide us on this.
Thank you so much. Let's go back to what I just did. See, it's very easy to sit here and talk. We can all talk till tomorrow. We're going to focus it. What's your experiential learning from this? What did you connect to? Bala ma'am, you can start. What do you think? What spoke to you from this? What was the highlight of this?
Every child has their ability. If they work on the ability, they can choose a career of their choice. And me having worked with more than 300 kids, today I can proudly say that all 300 of them are equipped professionally in some field or the other. With whatever capacity they can, sometimes in many cases, they've even crossed their capacities and abilities with the opportunities they get. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. I'm waiting for the others. See, this floor is open. Please understand. Yeah. I'm no authority here. I do not know how you all do your sessions, but I'm not going to be dictating anything here. This is your program. You make it successful. Tell me what you want to talk about. Yeah.
All right. So we have
Whoever
Rupa.
wants to, yeah, let them. No problem. They will find their ways. Yeah.
Ma'am, I saw the movie. I mean, it somewhere reflected each and every aspect of different animal in my kids. because maybe they all went through a little bit of whatever each animal goes through. And finally, they have found a ground that I am a bear, I can only work in summer, the polar bear, which you mentioned there. And that is just me. So they have adapted themselves to it, and they have found their ground, or sky, if they're a bird.
And who is that?
So
Who has
both
found? Both your
both
kids.
my children, yeah.
Would you like to also place yourself there? See, very easily we put it on the kids. What about you? Who are you? We can't help anybody till we don't understand ourselves. So Rupa, for you, who are you from all this? Any person?
You mean, where do I see with
Yes,
each
yes.
animal in this?
I asked you two questions. Didn't I ask you two questions? One is, where do you see? First, you have to see yourself. Then you may see your children or your, whoever.
The same way, I am still trying to find my ground. I see a little bit of struggle what each animal go through. I still find it. I still cope with it every day. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I succeed. The day I succeed, I'm happy. When I'm not, I don't. I mean, whenever I fail, I don't see myself. I can't do it. Next day, I try another thing to achieve my goal. But my goal is set. So somehow I try to even fly, swim, or walk to that goal. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Who's the next one? Who wants to say, ask? Dr. Nimrat is available fully with us for the next 40 minutes. Please utilize her experience and ask or share.
Yeah, Vandana. She's talking. Let her. Yes, Vandana. Bolo. You're muted. Are you there, Vandana? Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yes. We can hear you now. Yes.
Yes. I think I connect myself like a fish. I'm very good in swimming, but I don't know how to climb. And sometimes when I was kid, people asked me to climb, to fly, and I just try also, but I failed. And because of that, I just feel low confident and a lot of things. I think these kind of things are students also facing. So it happens and it's still happening. So this I want to share.
Okay, thank you.
Who's the next? Pooja?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. I see the movie and I connect myself to the bee because I think my wings may be small, but I try little, and come to this platform or this position. I myself, after meeting Bala ma'am, understand LD children, and I recognize myself also. In my childhood, I have so many problems, but uh, as I seen in the video, I see bee trying little with little wings. They are trying their best. So I think I also did the same in my life.
Fantastic. See, the bee,
Wonderful.
if you look at it very carefully, the bee was told by doctor that by Dr. Owl, you can't fly because your wings are too small.
Small.
Understand, every word has a meaning in this.
Yes,
It is
beautiful.
very deep.
Yes, ma'am.
And still, the bee says, okay, I will still fly. Think of all the people who don't go to school or who do not pass school, who have difficulties, and yet they have that resilience to do something in life.
Yes, ma'am.
That is the power of believing in whatever God has created. So every animal is created with some strength and some limitation.
कुछ गिर गया
However, they're expected to excel in everything and they can't. So if you can apply this to yourself, that how, you couldn't do everything perfectly well, but you have made it, and so will your children make it. It's just about recognizing what they are good at. And every child it's not to say it, but it is to believe after seeing the animal school, how every child is so distinct, different and unique. If you see, every animal has some strength and some limitation. Kangaroo can jump on 2 legs very fast, but 4 legs not possible. Okay. The squirrel can go up and come down, but if you say that, do it in the way it's supposed to be done, not possible. The what you say, the polar bear, it will only be active in the summers and during, but the school is closed that time. You notice some children are very good with their social skills. They care, they love, they express, but they're not good at studies. Some are very good at studies, but they don't have any other active, they don't do anything else. Some are so creative that they're not good at studies, but if you tell them anything to do with origami or prepare a dance performance and organize something, so naturally they do it. But tragically, what we do is, what they are not good at, we put so much focus on that the other subject, the child becomes weak at that. We say, no, now you study, you don't. So in most of the schools, if you're not good at studies and you can't do sports, we can't send you for extracurricular activities. School is represented, they represent only those who are good at whatever they do. So you understand that how much we create a difference in children. Instead of appreciating, respecting, acknowledging differences, we start judging them. The movie was purely on that, and there is no book that comes along, no booklet. Did you have a booklet from the Almighty when your child was delivered, that this is the booklet, now use this booklet and everything is going to be that way? There's no booklet. So, which is the booklet is to live in the present and to understand everything that is happening in the present, isn't it? And some children are going to be difficult. Some children, some stage of their life is going to be difficult. The question is, there is one very important word which I'm really acknowledging it more. I'm seeing different type of people is acceptance. ये बहुत बड़ा word है, दिखने में हाँ accept हम करते हैं, but do we really accept? So if we can start accepting as things are, then we can work around those activities, right? So since today our focus is on differently abled children, I've prepared a little presentation exactly how, what would benefit you all. And I also want to talk about the RP. Do you know about this act of for the people with who are differently abled? Do all of you
RPWD
know?
Act
Yeah.
2016
Does everybody know? Have they been told?
may and may not be.
No? Oh my God. If you're on this platform, they have to know about the act, no? I wasn't sure whether I should include it, but I did include it. See, it's very important that parents, teachers know this act inside out. If you don't have a booklet, ask me, I will send you all. You all need to know this act, because then only you know what kind of advantage your children are sitting on. You all have many advantages, but because you all don't know the act, it has not been explained, you don't know how to utilize it. You know something, even when the child retires, the child is going to get some pension. That is the power of this act. So are you all excited to know about it? I've included it, but I wasn't sure whether I was supposed to show it. Bala ma'am, I have bought, so should I present that also?
Please, yeah, if your time permits, and
Yeah.
we would
Time
love to.
means I'm just going to present whatever I have got, because it is for this group. And then of course, this is not the end all, then they can always get in touch with you, me, whoever. So we are talking on the career opportunities of children who have some difficulty, who are not in the mainstream. They may be studying in the mainstream or not be studying, but they need extra help because their minds are wired differently, isn't it? So tell me
Absolutely.
about your children. Can you tell me that what kind of children are you working with if you're a teacher, and what type of child do you have? If you're a mother, please type it in the chat. I'd love to see that. So what is ability and disability? I think we need to first understand this only. So we say that there is ability in every disability. Every disability will have an ability. Why? Because their minds will be sharper. Like if you see blind people, the moment you put them in any place, they will find their way. How will they find their way? You cannot find it, but they will find it, because their other senses are very activated, right? So the World Health Organization talks about that disability is part of being human. All of us have disability, yeah, by the way. Each one of you sitting here, tell me anybody who doesn't have a disability. I really like to understand. Sabka disability hai. Okay. And at least 2% of people in India do have disabilities, right? And disability is complex. It is dynamic. It's multi-dimensional. And there are so many ways in which we need to understand it. It is not one. It's not that I can't see, but when I can't see, then I have a difficulty interpreting my world. When I have a difficulty interpreting my world, then I'm not able to meet many people. When I'm not able to meet many people, then I'm not out there. I do not get all the information from the world. So there are so many things that get compounded because of disability. So what is disability? Basically, disability is a condition of the body or the mind. It could be an impairment that makes it difficult for a person with the condition to do certain activities. If they can't see, hear, or they have a learning disability, that part will get affected and interact with the world around them. So that will create some restrictions for them. Isn't that what is disability? Now, the act and the policy on disability, see, it has always existed. But many of us did not get that this also needs to be recognized. Agar aap dekhoge, every building, every theater, every common area would have a place where there is this to take a chair, so that the polio patient or a disabled person physically who has a locomotive problem can be wheeled inside, isn't it? Every hospital will have. So that means we have to consider disability, physical or mental, in our day-to-day life, because they are part of our life. They don't want pity. Remember that nobody wants bechara. They just want to find a way that, please give me this so that I can become independent. And that's exactly what we want to do with our kids, isn't it? So we need to understand this Disability Act of 2016. The act was passed by Parliament that came into force in 2017 to give effect to the United Nations Convention on the Right of People with Disability, which replaces the Person with Disability Act. So the 1995 Act had very few people who fell into this category. Now we have 21 such categories. Its aim is to uphold the dignity of every person with disability in society and to prevent any form of discrimination, right? And there are 17 chapters divided into 102 sections. We don't need to know all. So what are the specific disabilities that we can talk about, which are mentioned in the RPWD? The physical disability, intellectual disability, disability caused due to some neurological condition, multiple disability, and one which does not fall into any category. So there are actually 6 different categories. But if you spell it out, these 6 categories fall into these 21 categories, broadly speaking. So blindness, low vision, leprosy cured person, locomotor disability, dwarfism, the people who really don't grow beyond 2 feet, 1 feet, 2 feet, intellectual disability, mental illness, cerebral palsy, specific learning disability, speech and learning language disability, hearing impairment, something to do with muscles, acid, Parkinson. Now, Parkinson happens after 40. Still, that is a disability. You can still, if the person goes through the test and knows that this is Parkinson, then that person comes into this, he can claim this right. It's a right, remember, right. It's not that, okay, poor person, he has a right to claim his disability. Okay, so multiple sclerosis, thalassemia, hemophilia, sickle cell disease, autism, ASD, okay, chronic neurological condition, multiple disabilities, including deafness and blindness. So this is just to give you a gist of your children fall into one of these categories, then they are entitled to the RPWD, and there are the schools and colleges give a lot of and working spaces. There are seats that are reserved for such people in the government and all these government related organizations and NGOs. So this is something which we need to understand, that they, whatever disability they have, they also have a right that gets associated to that. And what is that? We need to first identify whether that category, they fall in a category, and that I think the civil hospitals of every city, now the new rule is the psychiatrists and psychologists have to work together in this area, and that report is signed by both of them, then that is fine. And nobody from a private institute can do this. It has to be from the civil hospitals. Then promoting human right based approach, that's another highlight of it. Every human being is equal according to this. It also has penalty and punishment if people do not follow this. 5% reservation in higher education is already provided. 4% reservation in employment. Guidelines for assessment have been also given. You just have to go online and check it. Bala ma'am, I think, can help you with that. She can find it and send you that paper. Otherwise, she can get in touch with me. Then designation of certifying authority, as I told you, procedure for certification, mandate human resource development, accessibility, special employment exchange. So ये सब highlight है RPWD. We can't go more than this, but I'm just telling you this is very good news. So children with these kind of difficulties don't have to fear. They will have an option. So any thoughts or anything you want to say before we start? We go into the session. Yes. Okay. So let's continue. So the first is the specific learning disability, not the specific learning disorder, not disability, but a disorder. So it is a neurodevelopmental disorder that is typically diagnosed very early in grade 1 and grade 2, the moment school starts and there is discipline, rules, there's a book through which children have to start reading. That's the time, I think it's end of grade 1, 2, and early in grade 3 that you can find out that this child is having some specific disability. It is characterized by persistent impairment in at least one of the 3 major areas. Either the student will have problem in reading, writing, or in maths. It's diagnosed. The intensity also can be different for different children. So mild, moderate, and severe. So what are if the child has difficulty with reading, writing, then and spelling, dyslexia and dysgraphia. If you see, the children will never write in a straight line. They'll keep writing up and down, and you wonder why they're not able to maintain the line and see the line. And children who have a difficulty with maths would be dyscalculia. If not recognized and managed, it can cause problems throughout the person's life beyond having lower academic achievement. It increases psychological distress and mental health problem, because see, when a child is not able to read, write, the child gets disqualified in school, he's not respected in class, does not have friends, his social bonding gets less, he cannot take part in extracurricular activities, he starts being called a duffer, he's given all kinds of names, and his entire thing of self-esteem goes down, and it leads to unemployment, underemployment. The child may become a school dropout. So if these things are not recognized on time and they are not helped, then children are made to feel as if they are not okay. Now, what are the career opportunities for such children? So let's look at, this is the limitation they have. but they also have some strengths that we need to understand. Now, certain job traits may complement the strengths of some adults with specific learning disability. And what are they? See, one is they are very creative. People with learning disability, they have good social skills, means they want to interact with people. It may be that they may not be good at studies, but they are good with interaction and hands-on activities. They will do well in some creative field, and they can solve problems which are hands-on. They may not be able to do some very technical work at that time, but solving any hands-on problems, they could do very well. There was one child who was very good with, he knew the entire Ramayana, Mahabharata, shloks, and one wondered, where did he get this, where did he learn all this? But because he was interested in the neighborhood, there used to be these bhakti and these kind of songs, and there used to be these discourses. He used to go there, attend, and he started learning all that. And he could correct his teachers in class also. He knew so much about it. So, sometimes we have to just find where their interests are. If they're showing interest in something, what do you say, go deeper into that and make sure that we intensify their learning in that. They can make very good stand-up comedians. They can make good social media managers because they're good with IT skills. And for that, they don't need spellings and sentences. They just dictate, that will get picked up. They can make very good makeup artists. They can make bloggers and content writers. They may, again, I'm saying, they may have a difficulty with spelling, but their concepts can be clear. They can do very, very good sales and marketing. They can make good choreographers, dancers. They have good, what do you say, body intelligence. They can be good at with animation because they are able to see movement very well. They can be good journalists as well. So these could be some things, I'm saying now, please, there's a disclaimer. Everybody cannot. In SLD also, what is the severity? Which area does the person have a problem? All that needs to be diagnosed. And then, of course, the child has to be given that exposure to see whether the child is doing well in a particular field. I still remember when I was doing counseling for one school, there was this boy who had lot of difficulty with reading, writing, means it was not possible only. He was just not able to, he was already in the 8th, a nice, huge, tough guy, but his language skills were very poor. Now when we did his testing, we realized this guy can be very good in technical field like photography or engineering. And he was very interested in becoming a chef. Today, he is a chef and he's a very accomplished chef because the school did not make him feel bad about it. They would encourage him on school day. He would play the guitar and he was quite had a good fan following. So he just managed to scrape through his 10th. But after that, he really evolved because he started doing a lot of diplomas. He tried his hand at cooking. He tried his hand at I think he did his diploma in engineering, but he could not manage that. He came back to cooking and then today he is very established. So yeah, ye trial and error ho sakta hai, but just understanding that they are creative, they can do hands-on activities, anything which is not reading, writing, they would be able to do pretty well. And we know there are many dyslexics in the world. Imagine Einstein. Okay, then Graham Bell, who was the inventor of telephone, inventor again. Okay, so a scientist, inventor, Steven Spielberg, we all know of his movies, the director. Michael Faraday, electric motor he invented. Okay, we know the basketballer, Magic Johnson, isn't it? Tesla. Can you imagine these great people were dyslexics? But they did not need language. They just had a thing of, what they want to work with. They made great researchers. They made great. So see, they're everywhere. It can be creative fields of direction. It could be, as I told you, body smart, Magic Johnson, then creativity in thinking and imagination. All the scientists and all the accomplished inventors. Then we have the autistic disorder. Okay, So spectrum disorder, we call it spectrum because there's a multiple spectrum in which we need to understand them. So such children, we know na, they have a different, why it's important to understand what are the signs, because we know that these could be their limitations and we have to cross the limitation and work in their strengths. So they avoid eye contact. So their social skills are not very good. They have a delayed speech and communication skills. They have to be in a rule or routine because they otherwise they cannot hold it themselves. They need to be told what needs to be done when.
Can I interrupt, Dr. Nimrat? Have you changed the slide? Because I think we can't see we are still on SLD.
No, I think then let me try again. I had changed it. Let me see.
Am I right? We were all on SLD.
Is this
yes.
okay?
Yes, yes.
Is this okay?
Was there a slide before this?
No.
Any between SLD and this? No.
No.
Okay.
No. This you saw?
Famous dyslexic. Okay.
You saw this?
No, we didn't.
Okay. But I spoke about them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So common signs of autism are they don't have a good eye contact, delayed speech. They have to be rule bound. They can get upset with little changes. Their sensory reactions they're overwhelmed by sound or any light, smell. We know all that. And they have a difficulty understanding other people's emotions, though they have emotions, but difficulty understanding others. And whatever they do, they have a repetitive stereotype movement or gesture. I think this is common. We all know about this. Now, what can we do with what can be their strength? Certain job traits may complement the strengths of people with ADHD or what do you say? Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, no, it is what do you say, autism. So those which are visually, what appeals to them visually, these children have a lot of emotions. So they can really work well with animals and pets. And it is found that when you get a pet in the house, their nurturance, love for the pet brings out the best out of them. They are good with facts and they have a high technical aptitude, these children. So then what does that bring out of them? They can do animal science. They can do graphic designing. They can be good at accounting and statistics. They can be good at shipping and logistics. Again, this is accounts. They can be good with creativity, art and design, animation, and information technology. So if you see, these are not so much to do with people, it's more to do with technology, design, and with animals, because they don't have the best social skills. Okay. So this can be for autistic children. You can see who all fall into this category, and think about musicians, actors, physicists, scientists, composers. So people who did very big work, who, express themselves in their own ways, they could be coming from the autistic spectrum disorder. They may not have a direct connection, but creation, they're very good with creation. So you will have to find, if your child likes music, music can be the way for him to do other activities. IT, computers, not too much, but whatever the child does. Physical activity, just to keep his, his body moving. So whatever it takes for the child to connect to whatever he enjoys can be a calling for him. So his interest can become, or his hobby can become his talent. Then ADHD. I think in ADHD, we can talk about all three together. We can talk about children who are impulsive, who are hyperactive, who are inattentive and distractible. So we know the difference. I think this is not something which we need to cover too much. Now, what are the opportunities for such people? See, ADHD people are very restless. Their energies have to be channelized. So putting them into any sports, games, activities which are very highly moving, so the body smart activities where they are so tired that at the end of the day they want to sleep, would be really stimulating for them. So they are passion fueled. They are high activities where the jobs which require high intensity, ultra structured, lightning pace, hands-on creativity, and independent risk-taking activities. So such people can do very well as chefs, photographers. They can start their own business. They can be sales reps because they'll push the production people to make things happen. So that will be a very marketing driven way. Okay, how can I sell this? And they're very good. They're very good with their words. Then they can be computer technicians. They can do very well in any emergency situation like 108. If you have an ADHD person, he is so restless even at night. He just wants to be of help. Even teachers, because see, one thing is children many times identify with whom they look at. So if a teacher has that restless predisposition, not very extreme, because as they grow, even an ADHD person starts settling down. That energy that the teacher may bring, she may have outbound classes, she may do things where she would make them do things and teach the child. So even a teacher with these kind of tendencies can be really good. She'll go into experimenting something. Let's do it together kind of thing. So these could be the career opportunities. And look at the famous ADHD people. So we have a comedian, then we have a inventor, we have an actor, we have a sports person. So see how much, a singer, musician, a director. So if you see all the fields which require creativity, these children can excel in that. So how do we catch them young, put them into activities which they start enjoying, and that becomes their career? So one thing is, for parents and teachers alike, we need to be patient with the child's development and growth. You remember that movie, okay? So every child has something, and you have to find, is your child a fish? Is he a kangaroo? Or is he a bear? Whatever the child is. So find that, be patient, help enhance your child's existing skill sets, build on it slowly and gradually. Talk to teachers to see where the child is flourishing in school and where he may need extra assistance. I think this synergy between the teacher, the counselor, and the school, the parent, it's very important to make sure that all the energy goes towards the stakeholder. Stakeholder is a child. How can we maximize his potential? How can we work in his strengths, not his limitations? So instead of making him write every question, for example, no, he can't write. An ADHD may not, a dyslexic may not be. Just give him, instead of writing questions and answers, just tell him to write the answer, no? We should be more concerned with concepts, not that everything has to be done just the way it has to be done. Okay, so children with learning disability, give them more focus on concepts rather than putting them through this grind of doing things, because when they get put off, then they don't want to do anything, and they have mood issues. Children with difficulties, because they feel that nobody understands them, even parents don't get them. Then have a flexible day schedule. Don't overcrowd the day. Give them one instruction at a time also. Make sure that they are de-stressed through some game, activity, dance, music, outdoor something. Discuss with family members how to, avoid putting pressure on the child. No extra activities, not too many things where again and again we are doing academics. There has to be a break somewhere. Then have a conversation with the child of what he may think he's good at. Seek professional help like a career counselor as required. Now, we do work with regular students also, and we do it even with students like this. I want to, before we go here, let me see if there are any questions, because then I have a case study. I bought a case also from my own, somebody we've helped recently, 13-year-old girl. About that a little later, but if you have any questions, one or two questions, let me take them.
We have a few parents here. Probably even they can ask questions related to your own child. You might get a very apt answer from an expert like Dr. Nimrat. May I request all of you to come on the camera, please?
I'm sorry, Bala ma'am, but nothing too personal here, because in groups, I'm not sure whether we should. I personally feel that nothing very personal, but generic, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah.
Anything personal gets into a lot of detailing, and
Yeah.
we will not get the time to do that here. But yeah, you're welcome to connect later.
If you're happy to share in public, you're welcome. Otherwise, definitely ma'am will share her details. You can get connected with her later.
And if I can just get a feedback for this, I mean, is this what you'll want? Is this making sense to you? Is it helpful what we are talking about right now? Just give me a thumbs up or something, some way I should know, you know. Okay, fair enough. So then let me do one thing. Thank you so much. I want to share about one girl who was 14, and they were not able to crack her code. Let me use that word, crack the code. Sometimes what happens, the age goes away where, you know, you can help the child. You just know that the child is not showing up, is not showing energy, is not motivated, does not have many friends, is not doing well in class, is slow and sluggish, but knows everything. So it gets very, very complicated sometimes, even for teachers and parents. Ki problem kya hai? So there was this lady woman who used to come to me, and her daughters, when they started growing up, so one of this daughter had this problem, and she really did not know. She said, school kuch bolta nahi hai. See what happens many times in international schools, every child is appreciated, respected, acknowledged for being unique. But we cannot leave it at that. We also have to find out, is there something not, you know, the child is struggling with something, the child is not able to maximize potential. So finally, after the student gave her 8th standard exam for they had holidays this recently, I met this child for a few sessions, and then I came up with, see, we have to do it very scientifically. I cannot just, you know, talk and say, ha, mera diagnosis ye hai. No, I really feel that everything has to be done just the way it should be done. So I did talk to her. She kept denying she had any problem. She said, no, I don't have any problem. No, I don't. And yet she wasn't doing well. So definitely she was even scared. Now you understand, she was so scared to say she has a problem because she thought that, you know, she would be branded or labeled something. But what we did is we started looking. First, I did her personality. I did her IQ test. I did a specific learning disability test. We did the full developmental history of the NIMHANS developmental history. Then I made her do a few projective tools. I made her do story writing and sentence completion. And then I made the parents do to look at the ADHD, and, you know, to see whether there are any symptoms of that. There is a rating scale in which we could identify what are the areas. Is it attention? Is it hyperkinetic? Is it impulsivity? What is it? So this report is a very brief one. I can't give you the details. It's too long. But let me just attempt this if this makes sense to you all. So the first test I took was the Wechsler's intelligence scale. And we found that in there are four broad areas: verbal, perceptual reasoning, working memory, and processing speed. And there are different tests on the right-hand side, which you'll see, which measured it. Now, what we found is that she had average intelligence. Her intelligence was something like 103 or 104. And her strength was in her verbal understanding. So her conceptual understanding was pretty good, I would say. However, her processing speed was very slow. That means if she had to copy something from somewhere, she had to match some symbol to a number, she was not able to do it. And that was pretty low, which actually brought down her intelligence also. So now think about it. If the child's processing speed, the way she sees, registers, records, and reproduces is slow, then everything gets affected, isn't it? So that means automatically she becomes a slow learner. Then this was her IQ. So this IQ didn't give us too much information. It just told us her processing speed is low. Now we went to her learning disability. See, if the IQ is okay, then also the child is not performing, then definitely there is something the child may have specifically may have a problem with. So we looked at her specific learning disability test, may say. We looked at her attention span. We looked at her learning arithmetic, that language, arithmetic, perceptual motor ability, and memory. These are the 5 things we looked at. And we realized that her strength lies in her copying and auditory memory, but she had difficulty with attention. She had impaired learning in the attention, the digit cancellation. That means even simple activities, she was not able to do it correctly. Again, this was related to her processing speed. And she had a difficulty with reading and spellings. So her diagnosis was learning disability with dyslexia and dyscalculia. Okay, so this is from the SLD. So SLD gave us a better understanding of her than IQ. IQ was still better, but here, now we know where to zoom in, isn't it? Now we know where we have to work hard. Then we also did the ADHD parenting scale, and we found she was predominantly inattentive and she had conduct disorder. For everything she would fight, disagree. She came through as super confident. If you meet her, you cannot say that this girl would have any problems. In fact, she was ready to pounce on anybody and everybody. She thought she knew it all. And she thought that, she had that air of superiority. She never expressed that she's having difficulty anyway. So I'll tell you about that also. So then we also did her entire test online. We did this test, which is, I think this is a magical tool for anybody. We did the career assessment, but before that, let me come back to the conclusion. So when we looked at her IQ, we looked at her SLD, we looked at her ADHD, which her parents filled up that form. We looked at her case history, and we looked at her, what would we say, personality. We found that due to low processing speed and learning disability, she is likely to struggle in academics. Okay. Now this is very important. We say she's not good at academics, but why? Because of these difficulties. She may find it difficult to comprehend and respond. It is likely to affect her self-esteem and social behavior. Hence, she would require patient scaffolding and working over speed for a long time. She will benefit from an all-inclusive school education format. Now, honestly, in the 9th, changing a school, so we have to be practical also. It was not possible. So now they have home tutors who I am overseeing and trying to help to see how they need to bring that to the child, how they can use more visual and kinesthetic forms. So we are experimenting with this, and they do come for counseling once in a week, and they're continuing with the school also. So here her match was more in arts and humanities and in commerce, because she enjoys business studies and economics. And I told you that she does not have any difficulty with language that way. She may have it with spellings, but her concepts and understanding is pretty good. So she would benefit by, in fact, her father is helping her in understanding about trade, business, and things like that. So we've just changed the way we are going to be working towards her. So in the end, let's work towards building an inclusive society, because that's the whole aim. We don't want to pity them. We don't want to say they're less than. They do have something, but we need to really get to that. And how do we? Okay, this I'll leave for now. Any questions?
May I, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, you said that sometimes if the kid is on autism, then they do have some special interests, and that can be used for their further learnings, right? So even in my case, like the school was not able to figure out why the child is having a lot of behaviors in the school. Although it was very clear that it is because of the language and the transition, he is not able to communicate properly. But then when we went for a behavior assessment, there that person found that my child is very good in craft, and he enjoys, doing things,
Hands-on
making.
activities,
Yes, he
practical
enjoys
hands.
making things.
Hmm.
Now the question is, when I told this thing to the school teacher, because yet I am I am yet to receive the assessment report and all, but till now I am getting complaints that he's not sitting, he's not listening, and they are simply reprimanding. So I told them that this is his strength, and you can use it to what you call, um, control his behavior. The teacher is clueless, and she's saying that this, how can I use this skill in the class? Now how to channelize this skill, I mean, how to tell them that how to channel, although it is an inclusive school and my child is learning in the resource room. So I don't know how to tell them this thing.
See, I may not have a complete answer. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
इतना मैं बोल सकती हूँ, like you could, whatever the child has to learn as a concept. If the child can do a cutout, a craft thing, and express himself through that, and with some colors, I think that would also be a very nice way of representing his understanding of something, and that can be encouraged in school. If not in school, at least at home. So school mein jo ho raha hai, I am not in a position to say anything much, but yeah, if you keep meeting the teacher, showing her what he does at home and how wonderful his learning is because of that, and maybe in some way that can happen. And you can also ask them that how would you help, how can we bring out his, because we want to work with his strengths. So be more friendly to the teacher and find out, how we can make that happen in class. So yeah, maybe that could be a starting point. And of course, Bala ma'am and the others could also have ideas on this. I don't know.
हेलो मैम.
Yeah. Yes.
हेलो
बोलिए.
मैम, मुझे ना गोपेश के बारे में बात करनी है. अभी उसका कोई स्कूल तो जा नहीं रहा है कहीं पे भी, और सिर्फ जिम जाता है, उसके बाद कोई एक्टिविटी ही नहीं करता है बच्चा. और कहीं भेजने की करते तो वो जाने की नहीं करते. जैसे नीचे कहते हैं हम चलाओ, जाके साइकिलिंग करो, कहते मैं थक गया हूँ. अब बताइए हम क्या करें. वैसे कहते हैं मेरे को जॉब करनी है, जॉब पढ़े लिखे कोई मिलेगी, ऐसे तो नहीं मिलेगी किसी को जॉब ऐसे.
क्या उम्र है उसकी?
उसकी अभी ये 20 का होने वाला है, 29 जून को.
Okay. I'm sure Bala ma'am, you can help better in all this. आप कर रही होगे.
Actually, he was a
Bala ma'am
child. He was a child who was, hi Gopesh, he was studying in my center.
Okay.
And he was there for about a year and a half. Though they came very, very, very late, at least at 17 or 16 or something he had come.
Okay.
Till then they thought that normal school would help the boy. There is a lot of other history which I would not like to
जी,
share.
इसलिए मैं बोल रही हूँ ये सब, मुझे प्लीज माफ करिए, लेकिन मैं आंसर ही नहीं कर पाऊंगी ऐसी चीजें. हम सिर्फ जनरल बातें कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे. आपको कोई साइकोलॉजिस्ट है जो स्पेशल एजुकेटर है, उनको मिलके ही ये सोल्यूशन मिल सकेगा. यहाँ पे बहुत मुश्किल होगा करना. It's beyond the work we are doing. I'm very sorry.
So they have been guided, to do that, but they don't want to take those paths. Like bas naukri dila do. So it doesn't happen like that. So proper routes have been provided. There's a lot of history.
हेलो मैम, करे क्या बताइए. कहता है जॉब करनी है मुझे, तो जॉब का ऐसे कहाँ क्या करवाए बताइए. ये तो थोड़ी देर में अगर कोई कुछ कहेगा तो हाइपर भी हो जाता है.
आप मेरे से पर्सनली कांटेक्ट करिए, मैं आपको बताऊंगी कि आपको किसके पास जाना है. ठीक है.
Pooja, you have a question. We'll take two more questions before we
Pooja?
Yeah. Yes. May I, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, as we see, you have did a test of a girl. Actually, I am a teacher in very far-flung area. There is no any provision of this type of test. Still, if as a teacher, I know there is a student with LD. As a doctor, doctor, what you suggest me as a doctor, what you suggest me as a teacher? What suggestions do you want to give me as a doctor?
See, I think whatever I said, I won't repeat that, what are their symptoms or आपको क्या करने की जरूरत है in class, how to make it easy.
Yes, ma'am.
वो
Yes,
जो
ma'am.
मेरे suggestion दी, but उससे पहले they will have to visit a institute जहाँ पे उनका ये LD का diagnose हो. कौन सी एरिया में, बहुत important होता है कि कौन सी एरिया में उनको ज्यादा जरूरत है. So for teacher, it would become easier to work in those areas where there'll be remedial work. You may have a shadow teacher who will work with the student. So these things can only happen once we have a diagnosis. Diagnosis is not to label, but diagnosis is to know where the child has a problem. Like ये जो student की मैं बात कर रही हूँ, the child has very high verbal intelligence, but she has a difficulty with spellings and with reading. So we know that we have to focus specifically on spellings and reading. Okay. तो ये पता, और इसीलिए देन टीचर कैन हेल्प ना, कि टीचर को कहाँ पे हेल्प करना है क्लास में. एक हो सकता है
मैम, may I
by
intervene?
report.
May I
One
just
second.
intervene?
Can I just finish 1 second?
Yeah.
Who spoke? I don't even know.
I spoke.
Okay. Just give me a moment. So there are two ways. One is by our own instinct of being a teacher, trying to identify what is the difficulty and seeing by trial and error, हाँ, this works better with this child. उसको अगर हम कुछ visual के साथ करवाते हैं तो उसका अच्छा होता है, whatever. The other is actually you all should, ये जो test भी है ना, ये every year लेने हैं. I do not know, but आपको ये बोला गया है कि नहीं. जब आप कोई भी जैसे supposing आप SLD का ले रहे हो, उसकी क्या इम्प्रूवमेंट हुई है, कहाँ पे इम्प्रूवमेंट हुई, कहाँ पे गिरा स्टूडेंट, उसकी सेंसस के भी जो चेकअप होना चाहिए, आई साइट का, ईयर्स का, all that also should be done on regular basis, because sometimes you won't believe it. इतनी छोटी बात होती है कि बच्चे को दिख नहीं रहा, इसलिए वो रीड ठीक से नहीं कर रहा, उसको लेबल कर दिया गया है कि ये बच्चा डफर है. लेकिन जब उसके चश्मे लगे, उसको दिखना शुरू हुआ, उसने लिखना शुरू किया, अब वो बच्चा ठीक हो गया. तो आप सोचो कितनी हम लोग कॉम्प्लिकेशन करते हैं बच्चों की लाइफ में. तो ये रेगुलर चेकअप जो होता है, मेडिकल चेकअप, उनकी आईज का, ईयर्स का, उसको सुनाई ठीक से दे रहा है, उसको दिख ठीक से रहा है, बिकॉज आजकल बच्चों में eyesight की प्रॉब्लम है, because food intake and nutrition is not good, plus they are having wrong habits with iPad, TV and reading in dark. बहुत चीजें हैं. तो ये भी पेरेंट्स को और टीचर्स को, जैसे स्कूल्स में मेडिकल चेकअप होना, हेल्थ चेकअप होना, those things can at least prevent it. May not totally treat, but at least prevent some students from going through that. तो ये जो सिविल हॉस्पिटल्स है, ये आपके जो भी टेस्टिंग है, असेसमेंट है, वो कोई बड़ी सिटी में अवेलेबल होगा, आपके गांव के पास या टाउन के पास कहाँ तो कोई ऐसा हॉस्पिटल होगा जहाँ पे ये टेस्टिंग फैसिलिटी है. एटलीस्ट वंस इन अ ईयर पेरेंट्स हैव टू डू दैट.
Actually, Bala ma'am helped me a lot about all these things. But as about this test, I know, but in our city, Rajouri is a very little town. There are no availability of tests.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
बट सजेस्ट करो, और जिसको जाना है वो उनको लेके तो जाना होगा ना. कहाँ पे भी डॉक्टर होता है, हम जाते ही है ना. We need help. Yes, Bala ma'am. What do you want to add?
No, I was just saying that Pooja lives in Kashmir, a place called Rajouri, and she's a government school teacher, and she's doing an amazing work helping children even at distant places, because in such places, children can't even travel to school.
Yeah.
But somehow she goes out of her way to help these kids. So getting the children to school itself is a big challenge to her. And second is knowing that the child has a problem and non-acceptance of it by the parents, and non-availability of a technical person to do assessments, or a doctor or a psychologist to do assessment is a challenge for her. So I think our question to you is, what she has to do as a teacher, she's doing. What advice can you give her as a doctor to her? Am I right, Pooja? आप यही पूछना चाह रहे थे कि एज अ टीचर जो आप करना चाहते हो वो तो आप कर ही रहे हो, आप इस प्लेटफॉर्म से सीख के कर रहे हो. एज अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट, आप पूजा को क्या एडवाइस दोगे
हाँ, एज ए
स्पाइट ऑफ
डॉक्टर
हैविंग या एज अ डॉक्टर, क्योंकि
Did I
बहुत
answer the
बहुत
question?
दूर है.
Did I answer the question already? You
So-
have to take help from a
Yes.
medical practitioner.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you have to. There's no other way. It cannot be done like this, you know. I can't
Ma'am,
help.
actually, Bala ma'am changed my life as a teacher. I could say that. I am very much emotionally attached to her, whether she knows this or not. But I respect her because she
Wonderful.
really, actually, she taught me the real meaning of teaching, especially to LD children. With her, I really changed my classroom, changed many life of many my students too, because I now I understand what are
Yeah.
their difficulties.
See, we are
पर
blessed.
पूजा हम डॉक्टर नहीं बन सकते ना, हम टीचर हैं, हम टीचर ही रहे. और
that's
बच्चों
the
को अगर
problem.
डॉक्टर की जरूरत है तो हमें डॉक्टर के पास ही भेजना
हाँ.
पड़ेगा, उसका कोई दो
मैम
राय है ही नहीं.
है ही नहीं मैम, आपको पता है पेरेंट्स तो वो तो बड़ी दूर की बात, चलो
हाँ.
फिर भी आई विल ट्राई
Yes,
माय
and we
बेस्ट.
have to continuously do it. अगर हार्ट
Yes,
अटैक या मतलब हार्ट प्रॉब्लम होगा तो हम थोड़ी कुछ सॉल्व करेंगे. We tell them no to select the right doctor. So that's what
yes,
Dr.
ma'am.
Nimrat is saying कि आपको
Ma'am,
हमें उन्हें कन्विंस ही करना पड़ेगा कि प्लीज
मैम
गो टू द राइट डॉक्टर.
once I did this, तो उसकी मदर वो नहीं, मैंने टेवा दिखाया है, इसको ये है, इसको वो है, इसको वो है. मैं कहा ओके now what can I do?
पेरेंट्स का प्रॉब्लम ये होता है, वो हमें वी हैव टू बी सेंसिटिव इवन टू पेरेंट्स. इनको बहुत
Yes.
साइको एजुकेशन की जरूरत होती है, क्योंकि स्टिग्मा टैबू बहुत हाई है. कौन से पेरेंट को अगर आप बोलो, लेबल कर दो कि आपका बच्चा डिप्रेस्ड है, बच्चा ADHD है या ऑटिस्टिक है, बहुत टाइम लगता है पेरेंट को ये चीज को डाइजेस्ट करने में भी. तो ये जो हमें सेंसिटिवली बोलते हैं ना, फ्रिंज पे काम करके फिर ट्रूथ अंदर जाना है और टू हैंड होल्ड, ये भी एक चैलेंज है. इसीलिए ऐसे बच्चों के लिए पेरेंट्स और टीचर्स और डॉक्टर या जो भी इवन स्कूल का जो प्रिंसिपल है, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एवरीबडी वर्क्स टुगेदर. ये एक पर्सन का काम नहीं है. ओके, सो ब्लेम की बात नहीं है. हेरिडिटरी कभी तो मैंने देखा हस्बैंड वाइफ को ब्लेम कर रहा है, वाइफ हस्बैंड को ब्लेम कर रही है. कोई फायदा नहीं है वो सब करने का. जो भी है, दैट चाइल्ड इज एक्चुअली कम टू टीच यू अ लेसन इन योर लाइफ which you would have not learned, the lesson of patience. I know of my own client whose son is the second son has autism and how much she struggles. And she says that I would have never learned, me and my husband would have never been such patient, loving, caring parents if we didn't have a child like that. So if you are working with such children or you are a parent to such a child, please understand that you have some things to learn in your life. This is also karma, and it's beautiful that you are getting a chance to work like this. So we cannot run away from that. We have to face the reality कि बच्चे को ये चीज की जरूरत. हाँ, अपना भी हेल्प, अपना भी ध्यान रखो. Take a break, relax, go out a little, have some hobby. Make sure that you don't burn out in the bargain. हमें भी अपना ध्यान रखना है ताकि हम उन बच्चों का ध्यान रख सकें. So being more spiritual, even such children can be put in a little into whatever you do, your yoga, pranayam, even children can do, whether you're a teacher or a parent. So it's not just them, it's also us. We can work towards, say, inclusive society. Law से नहीं बनती है. Law तो है, लेकिन अगर हम law वो implement नहीं करेंगे rights, तो फिर it doesn't help ना. Because हम अपने घर से बाहर आएंगे, हम recognize करेंगे ये मेरे बच्चे को problem है, that's why the child needs help and needs to be in a special school, then only बात आगे बढ़ेगी. Then you have people like Bala ma'am to help. But to come out and have the courage to, to identify my child has a problem, I think that is the biggest thing. और इसीलिए ये मेरे बच्चे जिसकी बात करो 9th में 8th पास होने के बाद अब आए हैं. आप सोचो कितना टाइम लगा उस बच्चे को आने के में. और पेरेंट्स को पता था तो वो लोग मुझे बोलते तुम मैजिक कर दिया, तुमने मैजिक कर दिया. सर, मैंने कोई मैजिक नहीं किया. बिकॉज दैट्स अनदर थिंग, वी डोंट वांट टू टेक क्रेडिट फॉर दिस. इसमें क्रेडिट की बात क्या है? अगर हमारा काम है, हम अपना काम ही तो कर रहे हैं. और ये चीज स्कूल में बतानी चाहिए थी, स्कूल में होना चाहिए था. दैट मेक्स मी सैड that how lax our schools have become. कितने हम careless हो गए हैं, कितना हम डर गए हैं, या हमारी education में कुछ कमी है कि हम समझ ही नहीं पा रहे कैसे help करना है. So I'm happy कि आप लोग ये record भी कर रहे हो. Spread the word that when students need help, identify the symptoms, take help. और अगर right time पे होता तो बच्चे को इतनी problem भी नहीं होती. Isn't it?
Absolutely. Already ma'am has given more time than we had thought of. I hope there are no more questions. And can somebody come and share the feedback, your learnings from today? Hindi, English, whatever language, please come and share your learnings from today. What is your takeaway for the day? बहुत लोग कैमरा में आए नहीं हैं. Please come on the camera and share your takeaways.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, Ruchi.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, everybody.
Ruchi is from Udaipur. Yeah.
Yeah. Although we have been learning from Bala, ma'am, so many things, ma'am. I'm a teacher from a regular school, and then almost 15 years I've taught. And then when I came in contact with Bala, ma'am, all the perspective has changed. And I believe every teacher should go through whatever you and Bala, ma'am, has been talking about. And what is my takeaway? The act which you have talked me, at least I did not know about it. And how am I going to help parents about it? Secondly, so many career options, because I also teach, one of my students is ADHD. But then when I was asked, like, how can we support him? Which area? So it was little, the problem was the balance between a tutor, the remedial educator and the parents. If you are suggesting something, they should also be open about it. Okay. As you said, it's a taboo, or they take it as a prestige issue. How can my child do this?
All right.
So thank you so much, ma'am. It was really a wonderful session. We really learned a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Alma, as a parent, you want to share anything? Alma, you mentioned you have a child with 17-year-old and is LD. Do you want to share anything? Please put your, thank you for the mic.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Actually, the case study what you shared, it was similar of my case study, like my daughter's case study. But the age difference is like she's 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we are yet to finalize, like with the help of Bala madam, some schools were of no help for her. She was just going and it was just like a time pass. And in between, we have changed the countries. So in UK also, she was not getting much help. But this act, I was also unaware of it. Thank you very much for letting us know. And now I think I have some guidelines sort of thing, like how exactly I should be going to teach. And then how should I be teaching her, and then the career options for her. Like one thing you mentioned about somebody who is very good with shlokas and all. Similar thing is with my child. She knows Ramayana contest, like whatever you ask about anything, any stories from this Ramayana, she'll be able to tell. But when it comes to reading and writing, she's still struggling for that, and we are just trying to help her. I have also gone through this NIOS, like I'm going to opt for that option, because now this was the first time she asked me, like she wanted to study.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, that
now she will achieve what she wants to. The first step is already taken.
Yeah, that's already been taken, and like she is very good in music. So when I asked, like she told that she would be opting for that as a career as a music teacher. So I'm going to continue her training with the Carnatical musicians. So in that case, like almost like half of the thing we are the way. Thank you very much for this act.
Thank you. Thank you, Alma. You said something really important. See, one thing is, remember, no psychologist is bigger than a parent. No other educator is bigger than a parent. What a parent can understand, वो बोलता है नफ्स पकड़ता है, feels the pulse, because from childhood we have seen our children. It's just that we need to start seeing them very objectively, not as illusions. अरे वो ऐसा है, और ये बात मैंने बहुत देखी है, पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं मैं भी ऐसा था, मैं भी ऐसी थी. डोंट डू दैट, don't do that, because you're not doing any good to your child. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Say, okay, I had a problem, now I can see that problem in my child, and I think because of that the child is having problems in other aspects. It's never going to be one. Remember, it's not academic mein weak hai, because academic mein weak hai, then see all the other comorbidities that will come with that. So please respect and accept that yes, there is a problem. Then you can actually do. I have seen there are two types of parents. Parents who are so open, they say, ma'am, actually I knew this. I knew this is coming. But I did not want to acknowledge it maybe, but thank you for bringing it up. Because see, we are doing it with lot of dignity and respect. मुझे तो, sometimes I break down with the client, because it hurts me also that we have to give them this news, but if we don't give them, then we are not able to help them.
Yes.
Once that happens, then we can take it forward. Can now we need to accept अब क्या कर सकेगा आपका बच्चा, क्या नहीं कर सकेगा, हम उस पे ध्यान देंगे. Work on his strengths. Don't work on the child's limitations. अगर उसको मैथ्स नहीं आता, उसको मारो मत, पीटो मत, उसको बाकी चीजें करने दो. लाइफ में बहुत कुछ है. ये जो सब इतने बड़े हुए हैं, I should not say this, but look at the people who've done well in their lives. Many of them are dropouts also. I'm not saying all are, but they also are dropouts. But the only thing I would say, that people who make it, it's not education, it's more of your self-esteem. If your education system cannot make you feel good about yourself, the child is not happy to go to school, and it is not building the child's character, good, bad, right, wrong, then a school is not worthy. School has to, one is make every child feel good. Every child is good in something. That is one. And second is the child has to build his character more than get marks. कि वो अच्छा इंसान बन रहा है. अगर ये दो चीजें स्कूल तो पता नहीं प्रोवाइड करेगी नहीं करेगी, लेकिन हम तो कर सकते हैं. और वो ही हमें करना है. लेबल तो कौन लेके जाता है डिग्री. Who passes? I have failed in the 4th standard. I have repeated the 4th standard. I am a PhD today. किसने मुझे पूछा? Who cares? आज तो और भी रिस्पेक्ट होती है. मैं स्कूल जाती हूँ अपने, अरे ये बच्ची है जो फेल हो गई थी, आज तक वो क्या करती है. So let's not, make it. Failure is a very big learning thing for us. It's the ladder and the stepping stone for success. So I think with that, I just want to close by saying that, you all are doing great work. God bless each one of you. Never give up. जो तुमको कुछ नेगेटिव बोलता है, टॉक्सिक बोलता है ना, वो उससे बात करना ही बंद कर दो. Don't add any toxicity to your life. Just stay positive. And that comes from a spiritual thing. We pray, or whatever you want to do, you journal, pray, meditate, whatever yoga you do. I think that gives us the energy to move forward.
Absolutely.
So
Ma'am, would you like to share about the tests that you do? Would you like to just brief, so that if somebody wants to take help from you?
I can just share my information, but then they will have to get in touch with us directly.
Yeah, so they can have your number, so
Yeah.
that they can connect with you.
So we are in Ahmedabad, and this is my email ID. You can check that, my website. And my office number is 9099020781.
So if any one of you wish to connect with ma'am for whatever, for the tests, counseling, even family counseling, whatever, you can definitely associate with her. So thank you so much, Dr. Nimrat. It's been a real great pleasure. You've really given us more than 1.5 hours time, which is so valuable and precious to us. And I'm sure all of us will carry a lot of learnings from today's and implement it. Especially, I'm going to share with you the RPWD Act 2016 data, and we must all have it like a Bible with us. so we can
And
guide the
please help
parents. and-
everybody. ये सब जगह फैलाओ ताकि लोगों को पता चले. और ये BM Institute of Mental Sciences है in Ahmedabad. वहाँ पे भी बहुत अच्छा काम हो रहा है. So if anybody ever wants to, you all can also look that up. And BM Institute. of
Yeah, Dr.
Mental-
Manju. She's an amazing person.
Dr. Madhu Singh.
Madhu Singh, sorry.
Madhu
Dr.
Singh.
Madhu Singh.
Yes, yes.
Amazing person.
So yes, please
All
take
right.
care.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Take care,
Welcome.
ma'am. Bye-bye. Wish you all the best. Have a great weekend.
Thank you to all of you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay.